Ladies and gentlemen, my name is KyleAye and I am your coach of the Miami Donphans, and we are the only team that matters. And today, I'm going to give you my BBR Season 6 Miami Donphans draft recap, draft breakdown, draft analysis. I'm going to go over all of the Pokemon that we selected for our team and basically explain why I took them, kind of what they do. Real quick before I do that, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, I have a follower goal for Kick.com. Kick is a streaming platform similar to Twitch. Will you please make an account for free? It is free. It's free, I promise. Will you make a free account and follow me on there? I'm no longer going to be on Twitch. I'm pretty sure just because Twitch has established themselves as professional bag fumblers, and they're pretty cringe. If you could really just please help me out, make an account and follow me on there, I would really appreciate it. Now, there is one Pokemon and one Pokemon only that made me think, you know what? I can come out of retirement, come back to Generation 9 Draft League, I guess start Generation 9 because I never even played it, and dominate. And that Pokemon is Palafin. I'm obviously a diehard Dolphins fan. There is now a Dolphin Pokemon who is a superhero that can just punch the shit out of stuff. And I did not get to pick it because I had the 7th overall pick, and I think it got picked top 5. So that's unfortunate. But this rule set in this draft league nerfed it anyways because they made it not allowed to be a Terra Captain. Since that got picked, I was like, okay, there is one other Pokemon that I really want, and that is Great Tusk, because my team being the Donphans, I obviously love Donphan, and Great Tusk is sick. It's a badass prehistoric Donphan. And I didn't get to pick that either because it also went top 5. So without further ado, my first pick is Baxcalibur. Nickname, the coldest. Kind of like the coldest Crawford, except we got the coldest Baxcalibur. Now, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, there is a couple little icons that are on Baxcalibur, and that is because this is my Terra Captain. I briefly explained kind of what that was in the intro to the video, but essentially what this is you get one Pokemon on your team that can be your Terra Captain. It costs a little bit extra points. As you can see, this costed me 21 points, where normally Baxcalibur is only 17. But we get 2 types that you can pick to terrestrialize into, and I chose Dragon to keep Stab, and then I also chose Electric. Now, that'll make a little more sense at the end once we see everything, because we didn't have to actually choose our types until the draft was over, just so that way, you know, we can kind of see how it'll match up with things. But essentially, I wanted to keep Dragon just so I could keep Stab, basically, because when you terrorize or terrestrialize, you keep your old Stab, which is, you know, your attack bonus, right? So you keep that, but if you go to a new type, like Electric, for example, I will become just straight up just an Electric type. But I will still keep my Stab when I attack for Dragon and Ice. However, if I turn into a Dragon type, I essentially lose my Ice typing, right? So I'm just a Dragon, but I still have my Ice Stab. However, now my Dragon Stab is even more powerful. It's like the ability Adaptability, essentially. So, just wanted to kind of explain that real quick. But this gives me Physical Bolt Beam. Bolt Beam referring to Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, right? But I have the physical version of that. I got Icicle Crash, and then I'll have, you know, Terra Blast or whatever if I'm Electric. So I think that's really cool. And Ice, Dragon, and Electric are arguably the best offensive types in the entire game. So I think that would be good. This is a league champion, and I want you to know I didn't know this until I picked it, because whenever we started the draft, I think they were still in the playoffs, or maybe they had already played the championship of Season 5, but it wasn't public knowledge yet. I didn't know. I hadn't seen the video at the time. The team that won it all had Baxcalibur on their team, and they also chose the same Terra types as me, so that's pretty funny. But hey, great minds think alike. What can I say? So this is a league champion. It's a proven winner, okay? It has the ability Thermal Exchange, which is incredible. It basically means that it cannot be burned, and that is absolutely something that you want to have on a physical attacker. Not to mention, it has incredible incredible, strong priority with Ice Shard. So it has a base 145 attack. Also gets access to Dragon Dance and Swords Dance. And it's very bulky. It has 115 base HP. And it has 87 speed. So it's pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best, but you know, it's not bad. It's the same as Great Tusk, actually. So it gets a signature move called Glaive Rush, which is 120 base power. It's a physical dragon move, so I don't have to click Outrage, and I don't have to click a weak move like Dragon Claw. Well, a weak move. Dragon Claw is still strong, but I now have a stronger option that isn't Outrage. And Glaive Rush, essentially what it does, it can't miss. I love that. And it makes it where on your next turn, you take double damage. Who cares? If I click that move and I get a kill, I'm not even being attacked that turn. You know what I mean? I'm not even being attacked. Or I could just run Protect. So if I have to on the next turn. So it's very good. Or I could switch. Incredible move, especially in the draft format. It also gets access to Freeze Dry, which is it is a special move. This guy only has 75 special attack, so it's not the best, but Freeze Dry is an incredible move because it is an ice type move that is super effective against water types. So really, I'm not worried about a water type, even if I'm not Terra Electric. So that's pretty good. And Hail got buffed in Generation 9, becoming Snow. And essentially what it does is it gives you a defense boost. With the second pick, we decided to pick Cerulege. Kyle, that's not Cerulege, that's Skeledirge. Okay, look, hear me out. I needed a ghost type, I needed a fire type. Cerulege is the coolest Pokemon maybe ever in terms of design. But we went with Skeledirge instead. Okay, so I'm naming it Cerulege. Skeledirge is a phenomenal wall. This dude, he's a bulky fella, okay? 104 HP, 100 defense. 75 Spadef, not great, but he has 110 special attack, which is incredible because of its signature move, Torch Song. Torch Song is a fire type move. Base 80, 100% accurate, it can't miss, and it has a 100% chance to raise special attack. It also has the hidden ability Unaware, which is very nice, so I don't have to worry about, you know, getting swept by any kind of setup or anything like that. If I'm in this guy, if I go into this guy, we ignore stat changes. That's great. It's also a ghost type, so that means I can block Rapid Spinners if my opponent tries to bring Rapid Spin to get rid of any kind of hazards I've set up. Skeledirge also gets access to recovery with the move Slack Off. Now this is incredible because in Generation 9, a lot of Pokemon lost access to recovery moves, whether it be Roost, Recover, Soft Boiled, anything like that, right? So the fact that he can still have a recovery move is incredible. And with him being a bulky ghost type, it's even better because as of Generation 8, a lot of Pokemon lost access to the move Knock Off, which is an insanely powerful dark type move that knocks off an item. It knocks it off, right? Now, in Generation 8, I did a draft league where I won this title belt. With my first pick, I took Galarian Corsola, which was a Tier 2 Pokemon. But I knew having an insanely bulky ghost type would be incredible because not a lot of things got knockoff anymore, including Weavile. Lost knockoff. King Gambit now, or Bisharp back then, but now King Gambit. They don't have access to knockoff. So having a bulky ghost type is very, very good. But with it being a ghost type, we also don't have to worry about all of the fighting spam. There's a lot of very powerful fighting moves. Don't have to worry about that. Close combat, body press, things like that. We're immune to all that. This guy is slow. He only has 66 speed, but he is bulky. So he's immune to fighting and immune to normal spam. That's very good, and it has access to Will-O-Wisp. Now, I was in BBR for Season 3, and I need you to take a look at this team right here. This was the team that I used in that draft. I dominated, okay? These kids, man, they were trying to tell me that I'm not top-level talent and I'm just an entertainer. So what did I do? I came in and whooped that ass, okay? I was 9-0, plus 40. Plus 40, okay? But then I did have some real life stuff come up with my son, so I actually had to back out from the league, unfortunately, because I was on a championship run. However, I was so good they would not allow me to get a replacement coach. I could not have somebody get my team and come in because it was unfair, because it was too good, okay? So I was forced to take a 3-0 forfeit loss for the last 3 games in a row, and I was still in first place, and I think I was still the highest differential at plus 31, okay? This Zapdos that I had never even died. Multiple, and I brought it every game. Multiple of these Pokemon never died, but I just wanted you to see this team so that way you can kind of see a similar strategy that I'm going into this time, because a lot of these dudes that I play with, they're all very cool, by the way. I'm just clowning right now and joking around by, you know, smack talk, but they're really cool. However, a lot of them, they think the same way, man. They don't be thinking outside the box. So they just spam all the top tiers, and then they get as little Pokemon as possible, like 9 Pokemon, maybe 10. I'll be surprised if anybody but me gets a full team, honestly. Maybe one other person. They get 5, 6 top tiers, and then they get like 2 Pokemon that cost 1 point or 2 points, and they never bring them. However, my strategy is to take 1 very good Pokemon and then try and get as many of the mid tiers as I can, because having depth is the most important thing to me. So that's a similar approach I'm going to take in this draft, just so that way you can kind of see the reference, because it's proven success. Up next, I took Cleaver, and as you can see, it's only 11 points, so we're in the middle of the pack, you know what I mean? I took a Pokemon for 17, being Baxcalibur. Well, technically 21 because he's my captain, but not even a top tier. I took a tier 2, and then I took a 13-point Pokemon with Skeledirge, and now an 11-point Pokemon with Cleaver. Call it a reach if you want, but this dude is cool. He gets a signature move called Stone Axe, and if you don't know what that does, let me tell you, because it is an offensive rock-type move. It's only base 65 power, but it sets up Stealth Rocks, okay? And it's only 90% accurate, unfortunate, but like, here's the thing, right? If you click Stealth Rocks, you're not attacking. Like, you're wasting a turn to click Stealth Rocks, right? So if I click this move and it misses, who gives a fuck? I'll just click it again, because it's basically like I wasted a turn, and then now I'm attacking on turn 2. Same thing, right? So it's got Stone Axe, very good. It also gets access to U-Turn, which is incredible. It's good to have a Pokemon that can pivot. We love that. It also gets access to Defog. The ability Sharpness powers up slicing moves times 1.5. Stone Axe, it's an axe, it's a slicing move. It's even stronger than, you know, base 65 power. In Generation 9, they introduced a move called Trailblaze, which is just a grass type flame charge. So it gives you a speed boost. This guy gets access to that. So it gives me a great pivoting option. It also gets access to the ability Sheer Force, and it has 85 speed. It gets access to close combat, Swords Dance if I wanted to set up even more. And it gets a move called Fury Cutter. You might be like, Fury Cutter, that move sucks. Well, let me tell you. Fury Cutter is a base 40 move that doubles in power each turn, okay? That is also a cutting move, so it's powered up by Sharpness, plus Stab. Great with a Scarf, and it could potentially sweep somebody. It might have been a reach. It might end up being bad. I don't think so. I think it'll be very good, but I think he's super cool. I'm excited to use it, and I've decided to nickname him Obsidian because it evolves with the Augurite item, and it has like big-ass obsidian-looking stone razor blade hands. So huge hands, okay? One thing I like to do whenever I draft teams is I try to get as many Pokemon as that I've never used before. I like to play with new things. I like to think outside the box. I like to, you know, use diversity. I don't like to use the same thing over and over. Sometimes you do get some familiar faces on the team. That's just draft. There's only limited Pokemon, right? We don't have the national decks, so there's only a certain pool that you can get. And this is very new for me. It is Meloetta, or as we will be naming her, LaMeloetta. Shout out to LaMelo Ball, okay? Rookie of the Year, former. This hopefully will be our Rookie of the Year, as Meloetta has incredible special stats. 128 special attack and special defense. Both of them, 128, very good. And 100 HP, 90 speed, not to mention her signature move. And Relic Song is base 75 power. It's a special normal type move, okay? And what it does is it transforms her into a badass fighting type. So Meloetta is normally a normal psychic type, right? Oh, also Cleaver is Rock Bug. I don't know if I said that, but he's Rock Bug. But Meloetta, normal psychic. I click Relic Song, stab move, transform into normal fighting. And whenever she transforms, she gets 128 attack and speed. And then that 90 that wasn't speed goes to defense. It has Serene Grace, the ability, okay, which, doubles the likeliness of getting secondary effects. Things like Zen Headbutt, if I were to try and, get a Zen Headbutt flinch or something. It's also very good with Shadow Ball on the special side because that gives us a 40% chance to drop special defense. She also gets access to U-Turn and Baton Pass. In this league, we are not allowed to Baton Pass stats, right? So I can't get a stat boost and then Baton Pass, but we can just click Baton Pass dry. Now that is important because if you have a slower Pokemon, now she ain't really that slow, but you may want to take a hit. The Pokemon you're facing attacks you, and then you get to switch instead of hard switching whenever you bring out something, right? Having a Psychic type Pokemon that is immune to Ghost is very good. It literally is, it gives an immunity to a weakness. So we love that. It also a normal type that would normally be weak to fighting. Well, we're a Psychic type, so immune to ghost types. It can still kill dark types and fighting types. Meloetta gets the moves. I'm looking at it right now. 10 points. Breloom, only 11 points. I decided to name Breloom 4, like the number 4, Newport. Newport is a friend of mine who is a subscriber on Kick, so please check me out on Kick, make a free account, follow me over there. I like to always name at least one Pokemon after one of my subs over there. Breloom is incredible. It has the strongest Mach Punch in the game, so Technician powers up moves that are weaker than 60 base power. It also gets access to Spore, which is a 100% accurate move that puts your opponent to sleep. Technician goes insane because it also gets access to Rock Tomb, so that would be powered up and also drop my opponent's speed. Bullet Seed, of course, multi-hit grass move that's going to be powered up. It also gets access to Pounce, a bug type move. It's base 50 power, so that's going to be powered up to 75, and that move has a 100% chance to lower speed. All three of the abilities are good. Effect Spore, meaning that if I'm touched by like a contact move, there's a 30% chance to inflict poison, paralysis, or sleep on them. Also gets access to Poison Heal, which basically means that if I get poisoned, instead of taking damage, I actually heal 1/8 of my HP every turn. Breloom is also really cool because it's one of the few Pokemon that get access to Toxic. A lot of things don't get it anymore, right? Access to recover with Drain Punch. I'm excited to use Breloom. I think it was a steal at 11. Doxbun was 4 points. We are naming it Cream Filled. This is a fairy type that also gives us an immunity to fire with the ability Well-Baked Body. It's an immunity that gives you +2 defense, okay? And our defense is already 115. And 95 speed, so that's pretty good. It also gets access to Body Press, okay, which is a fighting type move that goes off of your defense stat. A physically defensive fairy type is incredible in my opinion. Most dragons, most of them, not all of them, but most of them are physical attackers. Fairy types are immune to dragon. It's access to Trailblaze. Wish, now it only has an abysmal 57 HP stat, so Wish isn't the best. However, it does at least allow some sort of recovery. This Pokemon is also what we call a phaser, meaning that it can phase your opponent out of the battle with a move called Roar, which it forces your opponent to switch. It can also do that by using the move Yawn. It's hard to switch in a fairy against a steel type or a poison type, but this one can do that because it gets access to Psychic Fangs. So we can hit a poison type. It also gets access to Body Press, like I said, to hit a steel type. And it's very bulky just in terms of defense. Hisuian Goodra. And we are naming this OnlyFans Girl because she is covered in the goo. This was 11 points. Again, middle of the pack pick. 80 HP, okay. But it has 100 defense and 150 special defense, okay? It's a dragon type that can hit fairies, because it's a steel type also, Dragon Steel. Honcho made me a believer because I think this dude looks cringe, if I'm being honest. I'm not a fan. This dude gets coverage out the ass, literally. All kinds of moves with 100 base attack and 110 special attack. Poison immunity because it's a steel type. A grass type immunity because it gets the ability Sap Sipper. Sap Sipper, like I said, makes you immune to grass, but it also gives you +1 attack. Plus the ability Gooey basically makes it a steel type that can switch in onto a physical attacker, get a speed drop on the opponent. This guy alone is immune or resists 10 types in the game. 10 of the 18. Immune to poison, immune to grass, resists bug, electric, flying, normal, psychic, rock, steel, and water. Shell armor is its other ability, which is great for me, someone with bad luck, because it means you cannot be hit with a critical hit. This thing is insane with an assault vest because it's basically going to never die to a special attacker, period. It gets access to a move called Chilling Water, base 50 special water type move that gets a guaranteed -1 on the opponent's attack. So this dude can just kind of nerf my opponents and just be bulky. It also gets Muddy Water for some ignorant reason. Admins to the league are watching this. Fucking ignorant. Why would you allow Muddy Water? That's so dumb. I hope I use it against all of you. It is 85 accurate, so it can miss, but it can lower the opponent's accuracy. Evasion, accuracy, it's so corny. People in this league are super nice. I'm just talking shit. I'm just being goofy. Let me tell you about a former pick of the Miami Donphans. I've had it a couple times, and it's become a bit of a fan favorite, and that is Donovan, the Quillfish. Donovan called me up. He was like, Coach A, I heard you coming back to draft. And I was like, yeah, you know, I'm thinking about it. Why? You trying to get back on the team? I don't know. And then he was like, nah, man. You got to see my cousin. And I was like, your cousin? He was like, yeah, man, he's a hooper. Enter the next pick. Hisuian Quillfish, Donovan's cousin, LeBronovan. I brought LeBronovan onto the team for 7 points, which is insane to me. This may have been the most valuable pick in terms of value. It only has one weakness in the game, which is ground, okay? And we can play around that, right? It's not poison water, it's poison dark. And it still gets swift swim. And somebody drafted Pelipper, so in case we go against rain or anything like that, we still have swift swim, and it still gets poison point, okay? So if something wants to make contact with us, hey, 30% chance to get poisoned, plus it gets intimidate. The best part about Hisuian Quillfish is that it can evolve, which means they gave Quillfish the ability to use Eviolite. So this dude can come in with an Intimidate and wear an Eviolite, and not a lot of things get knockoff. So this dude is going to eat, okay? It's going to eat moves. It's a poison type that is immune to Psychic. Eviolite, Intimidate literally makes it one of the best physical walls in the entire game. Not to mention we have the Hisuian Gudra, which is going to be one of the best special walls in the game. It gets Toxic. Like I said, not a lot of Pokemon do. When a poison type uses Toxic, it can't miss. Spikes and Toxic Spikes, and its signature move, Bomb Barrage, which is 60 base power. It's a physical poison move. It has a 50% chance to poison, by the way. And if you use it on an opponent that's already poisoned, it does double damage. But LeBronovan, he also gets speed control with Icy Wind, and it gets priority Aqua Jet. Chilling Water, I had already mentioned that move with Gudra. Taunt Haze, which eliminates all stat changes. Electros. Now, I don't know about you, but I enjoy getting the old sloppy toppy, the Luigi's Mansion Vacuum Suck, the Kirby Inhale, and that's why I am nicknaming this thing Gawk Gawk 3000, all right? The Eel. It has no weakness. It's a pure electric type with Levitate, so it's immune to ground moves. This thing gets U-Turn and Volt Switch. That's very good. It gets access to Coil, which is a setup move, which is basically bulk up. It raises attack and defense, but it also raises accuracy. It can be specially offensive or physically offensive or a mixture of both. It has 115 attack, 105 special attack. It's slow. It's only 50 base speed, but it gives us a slow pivot mon, slow U-turn, slow volt switch. Like I mentioned earlier with slow baton pass. With it having Levitate, it is immune to spikes and toxic spikes without having to run heavy duty boots. So it would still take Stealth Rocks damage, but who cares? And this guy is also a phaser because it gets Dragon Tail. Up next with our 10th pick, we have something that I've never used before, which is Gastrodon. I'm going to go ahead and name this Kick/KyleAye. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be annoying, but I really would greatly appreciate it if you would leave a comment down below and let me know if you do create a Kick account for free and follow me over there. I need 75 followers. I'm more than halfway there, and then I'll be able to actually help take care of my son financially with that support from Kick. Like I said, your part is free. All you got to do is just make the account and follow, but once I have that amount, then I'm able to monetize and do things like that over on Kick. It would greatly help me out if you could please do that. It is an incredible pick. It's not really a KyleAye pick because it's not very hype, but we make everything hype, okay? It only costs 10 points, and as you can see, we're at the end of the draft now, right? At this point, a lot of these dudes took a bunch of top tiers, and now they look through low tier shit to try to find what they need, whereas me, my whole team has depth. Gastrodon is a water ground type, which makes it a water type immune to electric, and a ground type immune to water because it gets the ability Storm Drain. Like I said, water immunity, but if you're hit with a water move, you get +1 to your special attack. That's very good. It also gets the ability Sticky Hold, which prevents you from losing your held item to if something does get knock off. It also gets Sand Force. This guy gets Stealth Rocks and Spikes. It's one of the few Pokemon in the game that still gets access to Recover, so that's good. It's very bulky, 111 HP. We love that. It also gets access to a move called Clear Smog, which is base 50. It's a poison type move, but it resets your opponent's stat changes. Icy Wind for speed control. It gets Yawn to try and force a switch, and it also gets, or put something to sleep, I guess. Stockpile is pretty funny because it gives you +1 defense and +1 special defense, but it's also good with heavy duty boots, just because that way we don't have to worry about coming in on toxic spikes or something like that, and Sticky Hold would prevent the boots from being knocked off, so that's pretty cool. And last but not least, we're taking a proven winner. Someone who helped carry the Donphans to the title belt. Hawlucha. For some reason, this guy never gets picked, and I don't know why. He's absurd. This Pokemon is fucking busted, dude. He's bonkers. I think people don't draft it because, like, the Tapus aren't in the game, so, like, you don't get as much terrain going on. And, like, with Rillaboom getting nerfed, not getting Grassy Glide anymore, I guess people just don't want it. I don't know, man. Blows my mind. This dude is insane. I don't need terrain. He's gonna go dumb. I'm gonna name this one for Sky. Shout out to Sky. It's another one of my subs, followers, friends. This dude, 118 base speed, plus it gets Unburdened, which means after I use my item, it doubles its speed. Proven winner. That's really all I can say about it. Championship DNA. 118 speed plus Unburdened is insane, and Unburdened can be popped without terrain if you're actually a good player. Okay, like there are more ways to do it than relying the game to automatically do it for you. Also, it gets access to Defog, so we like that, and it gets Roost. It's immune to ground, so we do like that, and it gets U-Turn to help us pivot. Outside of Scarf, Regieleki, and Unburdened Sneasler, Unburdened Hawlucha is the fastest Pokemon that was drafted. Like, out of the entire draft, out of all the picks. You know, it can hit steals, normals, rocks, all that stuff. We like Hawlucha. He is indeed the bravest bird. You know, gets access to Swords Dance, it can set up, it gets taunt, it gets all kinds of stuff. I'm excited, so please leave a comment and let me know what you think about the team. I would greatly appreciate if anybody would give the video a thumbs up. Let's try and get 5 likes. I think that would be fire. Hopefully you follow me on the journey week by week, and we will try and bring home some W's. That's all I got, Donphans. Roll out.